Oh, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Corran in the Morning. With Nationals less than a month away, I've been trying to think about what decks to play. I was going to try to do a humorous outline of every deck in the meta, or possibly something where the joke was that I didn't know what I was talking about, but if you wanted to hear someone who doesn't know what they're talking about discuss Star Wars CCG, you'd watch Holo Theater. Just kidding. Dan beat me in the OCS earlier this month, and now he's officially my nemesis. Anyway, I'm going to have Nationals on the brain for the next few weeks, so the next few episodes are going to be Nationals adjacent. Today I want to talk about the decks that I already have physically built. As of last night, I have 6 fully functional open decks built, plus or minus a few cards like Force Push that jump between decks. I'm sure by Nationals, several of these decks will be ripped apart in order to build decks that are actually playable. First up is Hidden Base Defense Fighters. This deck was the topic of the most recent Bad Deck Breakdowns, and it's been the deck that I played in the last 2 in-person events. Pros for this deck include its sleeves being SpongeBob themed, and that's about it. It's not particularly powerful, but the games that it does win are miserable for my opponent. Not to mention it's a hidden base deck, which has a reputation for unfun, non-interactive games. Nationals is going to be a long day. I don't want to spend the whole day losing to players who are already mad at me. Then we've got Old Allies. I played this at Worlds last year and lost a ton of games. Of course, Old Allies is the deck themed after sequel trilogy characters that's sort of a mid-range control deck and gets to play the double-sided Falcon. I think my problem with playing OA has a lot to do with the number of reps I get with the deck. If I'm playing Old Allies, it's because I want to win at all costs. Unfortunately, this means I'm not usually playing Old Allies in random fun games or Gemp games late Tuesday night, where my brain is too fried to play anything complicated. For Worlds, I chose OA because I wanted to stand a chance, thought I could wrap my head around flipping fast and draining for 2 at Jakku, and had been losing a lot with 12-card Throne Room. Of course, I literally got 2 games in before the event. The last light side deck I currently have built is the 12-card Throne Room. At some point, I'll do a whole episode on this deck, but it's my all-time favorite light side deck. It was the first deck that I built when I came back to the game. It is my go-to deck to play those nights when I'm tired and don't feel like playing, but figure that I should get some Star Wars CCG in because some Star Wars CCG is better than no Star Wars CCG. It's got a decent Destiny, better than most light side mains decks that I've used, and plays the EPP with lightsaber characters and a bunch of Jedi Resilience. It's just like chef's kiss. Great deck. Just not quite sure if it has the power needed to do well at Nationals. For Dark, I've got ASM Destroyer Droids. Origin story for this deck is that I've always wanted a Destroyer Droid deck, because back in the day, a deck full of 8 to 12 non-unique Coruscant rares seemed so fascinatingly expensive and extravagant. Then Matt Carulli played an ASM deck at Corellia Regionals last September with Destroyer Droids. And Brian Fred sent me a free Destroyer Droid, taking me up to 4 in my collection. That meant that I had enough Coruscant Destroyer Droids that I could run the rest of the droids as droidicas. And so there was no excuse not to play the deck. It's done pretty well for me in fun games, but I'm not sure if it has that raw power that I need for an event like Nationals. Just last night I built Map. This is the first deck that I've built specifically in preparation for Nationals. I've played against Map a ton, and generally lose to better players and win against worse players. This deck definitely has the most raw power of any deck that I've got built. Just need to make sure that I get more than 2 games in it before Nationals if I'm going to play it. And of course, I have Court, the dark equivalent of Throne Room for me. It's the deck I know inside and out. I could play it in my sleep. Unfortunately, I'd probably play just as bad with it in my sleep as I do when I'm awake. Yeah, so the issue with Court right now is that Carbon Chamber Testing is still better and has really been one of the dominant decks for some time. That means it's difficult for Design to help Court without also helping one of the top tier decks, CCT. So Court hasn't gotten much help at all in the last 6 virtual sets, and even got taken down a peg when Ponda Baba, Ellison Hinthra, and Jabba's Space Cruiser got errata. So those are the decks I've got built right now. The obvious choice with these decks is for me to learn map and OA like the back of my hand going into the event. I doubt that's going to end up happening. But we'll find out soon. See you next time.